Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. Ready to explore some more fascinating concepts today?
Always ready to dive in.
Awesome.
Okay.
So, for this deep dive, we've been looking at some sources about building a temple.
Okay.
But not a temple made of, bricks and mortar.
Right.
This one's a little more personal.
Oh.
Yeah, it seems like the temple is actually your body.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the sources also mention that this body temple is somehow connected to something called the center of time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a fascinating idea. This whole concept of the body as a temple is a really ancient one.
I bet.
Yeah, echoing across cultures and philosophies throughout history.
That's so cool. Now that you mention it, I do remember reading that the ancient Greeks, they believed that a healthy mind resided in a healthy body.
Yeah, exactly. They really understood that connection between the physical and the mental.
Yeah, it makes you think of that Socrates quote, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Do you think maybe he was hinting at this idea of inner exploration? Like building a temple within?
I think that's a really fascinating connection. Examining our lives, cultivating self-awareness, all of that is definitely a form of inner temple building.
It is.
And it seems like these sources you've been looking at, they suggest that this inner work can connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
To the center of time.
Yes. And the omniversal theory source even mentions that this center of time isn't a physical location.
Right.
It's more like a conceptual point where all timelines converge.
I see.
A point of pure potential.
Exactly. And it goes even further, suggesting that the center of time, it's not some distant cosmic entity out there.
Right.
It's intimately connected to our present moment experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, each now that we experience, it's like a point of contact with this central hub of the omniverse.
Wow. It's almost like we're constantly plugged into this cosmic network.
Yes.
But we're often too distracted to even notice the signal.
That's a great analogy. We're bombarded with so much information these days, External stimuli. It's easy to lose sight of the present moment.
It really is.
And that direct connection to the center of time.
Definitely. And the dimensional analysis source talks about time as the first dimension, a line from young to old. But it also suggests that time is influenced by other dimensions.
Okay.
Like energy and something called quantum flux.
Right.
What did you make of that?
That's where things get really interesting. It seems like the source is hinting at time not being simply linear, as we often perceive it. It has depth loops and maybe even the potential for reverse movement.
Wait, reverse movement, like going back in time, that's like some serious science fiction stuff.
Well, maybe not as far-fetched as we think. You have to remember, these sources are presenting theoretical frameworks.
True.
They're inviting us to consider possibilities beyond our current understanding.
Okay, I see. So if time isn't strictly linear, then maybe our actions don't just flow forward in a straight line.
Right.
Perhaps they create ripples that can affect the past as well as the future.
Exactly. And that's where this whole concept of good deeds comes into play.
Right. There's that quote in one of the sources, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but it says, "The only known way to travel forward is through space. The only way to go backwards is through hyperspace."
Wow.
Yeah. What do you think that means?
Oh, that's a thought-provoking quote. Maybe it's suggesting that while physical time travel might remain elusive, there's another way to influence the past.
Okay.
And that's through actions rooted in love and compassion and understanding. These good deeds, they might create ripples that travel not just through space, but through the very fabric of time itself.
Okay, so it's like we're sending positive vibes back through time, influencing the past in a subtle but meaningful way.
That's one way to interpret it.
Okay.
And the omniversal theory source even suggests that these good deeds, they contribute to the overall harmony of the omniverse.
I see.
They influence timelines towards a more positive direction.
So it's not just about doing good things because it feels good.
Right.
It's about playing an active role in shaping the trajectory of the whole omniverse.
That seems to be the implication. Yes. And it raises some really fascinating questions about free will destiny and the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah, those are big questions.
They are. But maybe we should delve into those a bit later.
Right. Before we get too lost in those cosmic considerations, let's circle back to this idea of the body as a temple.
Okay.
How does caring for our physical selves connect to this center of time and this concept of good deeds rippling through the omniverse?
That's a great question, and I think it's where the practical implications of these theories start to take shape. Remember, the sources emphasize that the body is not just a physical vessel.
Right.
It's a sacred space, a microcosm of the universe itself.
Right. The body as a temple source even compares the body to a complex ecosystem.
Yes.
With trillions of cells working together in perfect harmony.
And just like any ecosystem, the body thrives when it's treated with respect, care, and nourishment.
Makes sense.
When we engage in practices that promote physical, mental, and spiritual well-being, we're essentially tending to the garden of our inner temple.
Oh, I like that. Tending to the garden of our inner temple.
Yeah.
It's like we're creating a fertile ground for those good deeds to take root and blossom.
Exactly.
Sending out their positive ripples across time and space.
Precisely. And as we cultivate this inner harmony, we become more attuned to the interconnectedness of all things, more sensitive to the subtle signals emanating from that center of time.
I'm starting to see a connection here. It's like by taking care of our bodies, we're not just improving our own well-being, we're contributing to the overall harmony of the omniverse.
Exactly. And as we explore these ideas further, we'll discover that this connection between our inner temple and the center of time is much deeper and more profound than we might initially imagine.
Wow, can't wait to get into that.
Yeah, me too. But before we delve into those depths, perhaps we should take a moment to consider how this concept of the body as a temple has been expressed throughout history and across different cultures.
Ooh, that's a great idea. I'm always fascinated by how ancient wisdom traditions seem to echo these modern theories.
It's a testament to the enduring power of these ideas.
Absolutely.
You know, they've been woven into the fabric of human thought for centuries, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos.
Okay, so let's journey back in time for a moment.
Let's do it.
And explore how this concept of the body as a temple has manifested in different cultures and traditions.
Sounds good.
Where should we begin?
Well, I think a good starting point would be ancient Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
They had such a rich and complex understanding of the human body.
You know, it's so cool.
Yeah, and its connection to the divine. For example, the ancient Egyptians believed that the human body was a microcosm of the universe.
Okay.
A reflection of the divine order.
I see.
And their intricate mummification rituals. Those weren't just about preserving the physical body. Wow. It was about preparing the soul for its journey into the afterlife.
It's like they saw the body as a sacred vessel.
Exactly.
A temple, you know, worthy of the utmost care and reverence.
Yes.
Even in death.
Precisely. And this reverence for the body, it wasn't limited to ancient Egypt.
Right.
In ancient India, the yogic tradition, they developed all these intricate practices to purify and strengthen the body.
I see.
They viewed it as a vehicle for spiritual awakening.
I've always been fascinated by that concept of chakras in yogic philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
There are these energy centers within the body that correspond to different aspects of our being, right?
That's right. The chakras are seen as swirling vortexes of energy.
Okay.
And when they're balanced and aligned, it allows for a free flow of prana, or life force energy, throughout the body.
Cool.
And this state of energetic harmony is considered essential for both physical and spiritual well-being.
So it's like the yogis recognized that caring for the body wasn't just about physical health.
Right.
It was about cultivating a state of inner harmony.
Yes.
That could connect us to a higher dimension of being.
Exactly. And this emphasis on inner harmony, it resonates with the ideas we've been discussing about the body as a temple and its connection to the center of time.
Right. It's like all these different traditions are pointing to the same underlying truth.
Yeah.
That our physical bodies are intimately connected to our spiritual selves and to the very fabric of the universe.
I think you've hit on something really important here. It's not about seeing these traditions as separate or competing.
Okay.
But as different facets of the same gem, each reflecting a particular aspect of the same underlying reality.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
So if we bring it back to the omniversal theory source.
Yes.
How does this concept of the body as a temple fit into the idea of good deeds rippling through time and influencing the overall harmony of the omniverse?
Well, if we see the body as a sacred space, as a microcosm of the universe, then the way we treat our bodies becomes an act of cosmic significance.
Wow.
Every choice we make, every action we take, it ripples outward, influencing the energy of the omniverse.
So it's not just about grand gestures of altruism.
Right.
It's about the small, everyday choices we make.
Exactly.
What we eat, how we move, how we treat ourselves and others.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our actions have a ripple effect extending beyond our immediate sphere of influence.
Yeah.
As the Dalai Lama once said, be kind whenever possible. It is always possible.
I love that quote. It perfectly captures the essence of what we're talking about.
It does.
Even the smallest act of kindness can shift the energy of the omniverse in a positive direction.
Exactly. And when we cultivate a state of inner harmony through practices like yoga meditation, or simply by treating our bodies with respect, we amplify the positive impact of our actions.
It's like we're fine-tuning our instruments so that our music resonates with greater clarity and beauty.
I like that.
Contributing to the harmonious symphony of the cosmos.
A beautiful analogy. And it reminds us that building our inner temple is an ongoing process.
Right.
It's a journey of self-discovery and refinement. It's about cultivating awareness, compassion, and a deep understanding of our interconnectedness with all things.
Okay, but let's go back to this concept of good deeds rippling through time.
Sure.
One of the sources mentioned twisted loopbacks.
Right.
Still a bit fuzzy on what that actually means.
Yeah, it's definitely a mind-bending concept.
It is.
It suggests that time isn't simply linear as we often perceive it.
Okay.
But that there might be loops or folds in the fabric of time where our actions can circle back and influence events that have already occurred.
So our actions in the present could somehow affect the past.
Yeah.
That seems to defy the basic laws of cause and effect.
It does challenge our conventional understanding of time, that's for sure.
It does challenge our conventional understanding of time, that's for sure.
It does, but the source material suggests that consciousness might operate outside the constraints of linear time.
I see.
Perhaps our thoughts, intentions, and actions that create ripples that can travel both forward and backward through the temporal stream.
Okay, so if we entertain this possibility, what are the implications? Could we potentially change the past through our actions in the present?
That's a question that philosophers and physicists have grappled with for centuries.
Yeah.
And while we don't have definitive answers, I think it's important to consider the ethical implications of such a possibility.
That's a great point. If our actions could truly alter the past, then we would have an even greater responsibility to act with wisdom and compassion.
Absolutely.
Knowing that our choices could have far-reaching consequences.
Exactly. And it highlights the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah.
How our actions are woven into the tapestry of time, influencing not only our own lives, but the lives of countless others across the vast expanse of the omniverse.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it?
It is.
To realize that we're not just isolated beings moving through time, but active participants in a grand cosmic dance, co-creating reality with every thought, word, and deed.
It is humbling, and it invites us to approach life with a sense of awe and reverence, recognizing the profound impact of our choices.
Right.
But before we get too lost in the vastness of the omniverse, let's bring it back to the personal level.
Okay.
We've been talking a lot about these grand cosmic concepts.
We have.
But how do they actually translate into our everyday lives?
Right.
How can we practically apply these ideas to build our inner temple and connect to the center of time?
That's a crucial question, and it's one we'll explore in depth in our final segment.
Yeah, we'll delve into specific practices and principles that can help us cultivate inner harmony, align ourselves with the flow of time, and contribute to the positive evolution of the omniverse.
Sounds fascinating. I'm eager to hear your insights on how we can bridge the gap between these grand cosmic theories and our everyday experiences.
We'll stay tuned because we're about to embark on the most practical part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring this really cool concept of the body as a temple and how it connects to the center of time.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea.
It is. So now let's get practical.
Yeah.
How can we actually apply these profound ideas to our everyday lives?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's one thing to just think about these grand theories, but the real magic happens when we actually put them into practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin? What are some practical things we can do to build our inner temple and align ourselves with this center of time?
Well, I think it all starts with awareness.
Okay.
Paying attention to our thoughts, our emotions, our physical sensations, cultivating a sense of presence in each moment.
There's that idea of being present again. It seems to come up a lot in our exploration of time and consciousness.
It does, and there's good reason for that. The more present we are, the more attuned we become to the subtle energies within us and around us. we start to notice the interconnectedness of everything, the ripple effects of our actions.
So mindfulness practices like meditation could be a helpful tool for building our inner temple.
Absolutely. Meditation helps us cultivate a calm, focused mind.
Okay.
It allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. And this inner stillness, it creates space for greater awareness and connection.
That makes sense. It's like quieting the mental chatter so we can tune into those subtler frequencies of our being and the universe.
Precisely. And as we cultivate this inner stillness, we may find that our actions naturally become more aligned with this principle of harmony.
Right.
We start to make choices that not only benefit ourselves, but also contribute to the well-being of others and the planet.
It's like we're shifting from a self-centered perspective to a more holistic one.
Yes.
Recognizing that our well-being is totally linked to the well-being of the whole.
That's a great way to put it. And this shift in perspective, it can have a profound impact on our choices and actions.
Yeah, I bet.
We may find ourselves drawn to activities that promote healing, creativity, and connection.
So things like spending time in nature, engaging in creative pursuits, nurturing meaningful relationships.
Yeah, excellent.
These could all be considered acts of building our inner temple.
Absolutely. These activities nourish our souls. They connect us to something larger than ourselves. And they contribute to the positive energy of the omniverse.
One of the sources mentioned the importance of physical movement as a way to connect with the center of time.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Can you talk more about that?
Yes. The source highlighted this idea that movement is essential for maintaining the vitality of our energy systems.
Okay.
When we move our bodies, we stimulate the flow of prana, that life force energy, which can help us feel more grounded, energized, and connected.
So practices like yoga dance or even just going for a walk in nature,
right,
those could all be considered ways to harmonize our energy and align ourselves with the center of time.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything strenuous or complicated. The key is to find forms of movement that bring us joy and help us feel more alive in our bodies.
It's like we're literally dancing with time, finding our own rhythm within the grand cosmic symphony.
What a beautiful image. And as we become more attuned to the rhythm of our own being, we may find that we're also becoming more attuned to the rhythm of the universe.
It's interesting how these ancient concepts of the body as a temple and the interconnectedness of all things are reflected in modern scientific theories about the omniverse and the nature of time.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It seems that both ancient wisdom and modern science are converging on a similar understanding.
Oh, yeah?
That we are not isolated beings, but integral parts of a vast, interconnected web of existence.
And as we cultivate awareness, compassion, and a deep reverence for our bodies and the universe,
yes,
we can tap into the immense power and potential that resides within us.
Exactly. The journey of building our inner temple is a lifelong adventure, a continual process of self-discovery, growth, and expansion. It's about aligning ourselves with the flow of time, contributing to the harmony of the omniverse, and realizing our fullest potential as co-creators of reality.
What an inspiring thought. As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm reminded of that quote by Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change our life, is what our thoughts make it.
Oh, that's a good one.
It really seems that by cultivating positive thoughts, intentions, and actions, we can not only transform our own lives, but also contribute to the positive evolution of the entire omniverse.
Beautifully said. And may this deep dive inspire you to continue exploring these profound ideas, to keep building your inner temple, and to live each day with a renewed sense of purpose and wonder.
Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey through time consciousness and the boundless possibilities of the omniverse. Until next time, fellow explorers, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep building.